Prime Minister Modi kicked off the BJP's Lok Sabha campaign in Bengal today with 2 rallies, including one in Kolkata. Mamata Banerjee, in fact, was supposed to start her campaign from tomorrow, but pushed it up by a day so that she could counter the Prime Minister straight away. Now, Bengal is big. With 42 seats, the state has the 3rd largest share in parliament after UP and Maharashtra. Over the last few years, the BJP has made steady inroads in Bengal. From a vote share of just about 6% in the 2009 Lok Sabha election, the BJP was up to nearly 17% in 2014. Today, with the Congress and the left in a mess, deeply divided, it is the BJP that is emerging as the primary opponent to Mamata in Bengal. And this is also important because Mamata has emerged as a key opposition leader, taking on the Prime Minister and possibly being a contender for the top job herself. Now, it was a massive crowd that greeted Narendra Modi today in his Bengal rallies, visibly higher than what he has had in the past, according to my colleague Mamata Banerjee. In fact, the Prime Minister really going after Mamata as expected, calling her, among other things, a speed breaker to development.
पश्चिम बंगाल में एक स्पीड ब्रेकर है, स्पीड ब्रेकर। इस स्पीड ब्रेकर को यहां के लोग दीदी के नाम से जानते हैं। ये दीदी आपके विकास की स्पीड ब्रेकर है।
Well, Mamata Banerjee held her rally shortly after that, calling the Prime Minister as similar to Hitler and a liar.
আপনি হিটলারি কায়দায় গায়ের জোরে মিথ্যে বলছেন, হারবেন জেনে ভয়ে ভয়ে মিথ্যে বলছেন। একটা প্রধানমন্ত্রীর মুখে মিথ্যে কথা শোভা পায় না। রোজ রোজ মিথ্যে কথা বলবেন না। প্রধানমন্ত্রী মিথ্যে কথা নয়, প্রধানমন্ত্রী শিষ্টাচার, চৌকিদার মিথ্যাচার নয়, এটা মাথায় রাখবেন। 56 ইঞ্চি ছাতি নিয়ে 560 ইঞ্চি মিথ্যে কথা বলে যাচ্ছেন, কুৎসা করছেন, অপপ্রচার করছেন, নিজেদের কি ভাবেন?
Well, what is at stake as far as Bengal is concerned? It's the big showdown, Modi versus Mamata. Joining us tonight, Shama Mohammed, national spokesperson of the Congress. We have Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh of the BJP. Sukhindu Shekhar Roy, senior leader of the Trinamool Congress, is with us. Sunit Chopra of the CPM and senior journalist Aarti Jairath with us tonight as our commentator. So, Aarti Jairath, in the BJP scheme of things, Bengal is actually quite important. And if you could lay that out for us, because they are expecting to go down in other key states where they had done very well, particularly in the Hindi heartland. And with 42 seats, the 3rd highest in parliament, they are hoping that they're able to make gains elsewhere, like in Bengal and the Northeast. And do you think that they're possibly on their way to doing that?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious why they're spending so much time and effort and energy in Bengal. They've been doing it for the last 5 years, with Amit Shah making frequent trips, the whole, kind of arrest of Trinamool MLAs and MPs in the Sharda scam and so on. So they've really been attacking the Trinamool Congress and the West Bengal government. Now the question is, can they make up for the shortfall in UP, which is expected, and maybe some other states? Can they make up for that shortfall in Bengal? Their vote share is 17%. And I think the estimate is that they need to cross 30% to win at least 1 or 2 more seats than they win now. And then they have to increase exponentially above that to actually get the 22 seats that they're aiming to get.
So you're saying it might not be a dramatic dent in terms of seats?
No.
Even though their vote share may go up?
Even though their vote share may go up. The point is whether they can convert that into enough seats to make up the losses that they're going to face in UP and other states.
Well, I want to ask
Sukhindu
Shekhar Roy of the TMC though that on the ground, Mr. Roy, we saw and Moni-Deepa has reported this as well, very, very large crowds coming in for Mr. Modi in both the rallies that were held, visibly larger than what she has seen in the past when the Prime Minister has come to Bengal. What is that telling the Trinamool that would you at least concede that the BJP is the principal opposition then to you in Bengal at the moment?
what Monideepa has not said, that the turnout in the rally of the Prime Minister is less than 50% of the crowd gathered at the rally Mamata Banerjee addressed along with other leaders a few months back on that ground itself. Second point is that the tall claims being made by the BJP president that so many number of seats they will gain this time, that is maybe a vocal tonic to their workers. But the ground reality is that since 2011, the strength of Trinamool Congress has increased in each and every election, be it Lok Sabha, Assembly or local body elections. In view of the popular support that Mamata Banerjee led Trinamool Congress is getting all along, and what the Honorable Prime Minister has said today, attributing Mamata Banerjee as a speed breaker, he is partially correct in one sense, because Mamata Banerjee is all along fighting against the anti-people policies of the BJP government and the politics of hatred being perpetuated by BJP. That way, she is definitely speed breaker. Otherwise, she is speed maker. So far, the developmental work implemented in so far in West Bengal
but Mr. Roy,
is concerned.
Is the BJP your primary opponent now in Bengal? That was my question. Yes or no?
That will depend. That will depend after the results are out, because sometimes they have got more votes than other opposition parties, but sometimes the other parties have also got. In different elections, different reflections are being made.
I want to ask Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh of the BJP then that while clearly the BJP seems to be doing better in Bengal today than it has done, in the past, it's very clear that there has been a steady growth in vote share over the years, and you did well in the local body, the panchayat elections also. However, would you say that these Lok Sabha elections may not get you perhaps that that target of seats that you're looking for, as Aarti was saying, to make up the shortfall in other states? Do you realistically think that you can get more than a handful of seats in Bengal?
Let me tell you very frankly that our TMC representative, who is a senior leader of TMC, Mr. Roy, was telling that speed breaker. Obviously, the growth at the pace at which we are growing in UP, in other states, it has gotten really a sudden jolt in Bengal because of so many reasons. Number one, the state-sponsored terrorism, the state-sponsored violence in the entire process of from panchayats to Vidhan Sabha to the assembly elections, and that has given the biggest speed breaker of Bengal is those violence which are sponsored by the ruling party. And apart from that, the state machinery like police and other machinery is working as their collateral forces in order to speed break the growth at which Bengal could have been at par with the other state where we are ruling. For almost 20 states we are ruling. And the reason Bengal BJP is finding its ground, because Bengal for last 34 years of the communist regime, they have seen enough of bloodbath, enough of violence, enough of all these negative politics of band, then politics of violence,
my question
politics
is,
of murder,
how will you
politics
convert?
of
You have
racism,
a current,
and now
your vote share in the last election was 17%. You might need to cross 30% to get a substantial number of seats. Do you think that's realistically possible is the question?
Nidhi, let me tell you, 17%, we have crossed way back 17%. If you see all the recent by-elections, we have reached up to 30-35%. So those 17% is now history for us. We are now achieving almost close to 30%. If you see by-election of Kathi,
so
by-election
you're taking
of
the by-elections of Bengal seriously.
We have by-election
not
of 100%. We have increased by 100%.
No, I had to sort
And
of
now
bring in that
today,
because you
Modi
all
ji is
were saying
rallying-
that Gorakhpur and Phulpur and all these other by-elections in UP didn't mean anything. So you're taking the Bengal one seriously because you've done well in
No,
those,
if you
which you're
want
right.
to, if you want me a question with respect to Bengal, I will give a respect to Bengal. Phulpur and others a different case. When we analyze the case with respect to UP, I will answer it.
Okay.
Now Bengal, today's the huge gathering in brigade, the first time BJP has done in brigade, unprecedented gathering in brigade, shows 80% of the gathering was notably, it is a youth. Who are
Okay.
the new voters?
Okay,
or
Mr.
the
Ghosh,
youth
let me just
voters?
get the others
See,
into this.
The youth of this country,
let
with
me
the
just get the
largest
others
youth
into
share
this.
segment, they say
Mr. Chopra of the CPM
Sorry?
is part of one of the biggest problems in Bengal, just how fractured the other parties are. The left and the Congress weren't able to reach an understanding. Have you all, in a sense, ceded space to the BJP in the state?
No, because when there is a multi-cornered contest, it is not Modi versus the others. And anything can happen, as the Trinamool representative was saying.
Go ahead, Mr.
So
Chopra.
it is BJP just preening its feathers without any basis.
No, but is it just preening its feathers? Because the left has lost a substantial vote share. We have those graphics, in Bengal, in both the Lok Sabha elections of 2009 to 14, and then the
See.
assembly elections as well. So the left has steadily declined. So has the Congress, very badly. And has that therefore opened up the space for the BJP
There is
to
nothing
grow?
like
The
a
BJP
steadily
has grown in
decline.
Bengal. That's a fact.
The BJP came down to three seats in parliament. BJP came to 3 seats in parliament. So then it rose. And people who come to the parade ground are not necessarily your voters. They may want to come and see the Prime Minister.
Okay, Shama, same question to the Congress.
So,
As
I mean,
Mr. Chopra, do you have even a candidate of Prime Minister, people want to come and see him?
Shama Mohammed of the Congress first.
You don't have that candidate also.
Why
That's
not?
why we come to see him, forget
let
about
Shama come in,
listening
please.
him.
Let
He
Shama
wears
come in with
many
a first
fashionable
comment.
clothes. He wears many fashionable clothes.
And that's why people are coming to see
Prime
him.
Minister देखने आए हैं.
Oh,
Obviously.
what an ironic concept, Mr. Chopra. You dress yourself fashionable clothes and more than 5 lakh, 6 lakh people will come and see you. That's the politics you're doing for last 34 years.
Okay, one second. Let's just try
Why
to have a
not?
more serious conversation than the Prime Minister's
You
clothes.
ask Amitabh Bachchan to come anywhere, they'll come.
Where are we going now?
Okay, Shama Mohammed.
So what I wanted to say is
You
about this.
can't
I
you
speak,
can't
Mr.
judge
Chopra?
Mr. Chopra,
from
please.
a rally.
Can I speak? So a couple of points. One thing she mentioned about the vote share. Now I just want to talk about not a state, but in 2009, the Bharatiya Janata Party had 18% vote share and they got 116 seats. In 2014, when we got 44 seats, we had 19% vote share. So sometimes this can happen. The vote share doesn't need to translate into the number of seats like she was saying. Number two, Mr. Ghosh said that there were a lot of youngsters. Now I don't know which youngsters there are. They paid, these youngsters? Like yesterday they found money in the convoy of the Arunachal Pradesh CM. And what was that money for? Was it taken for the rally which was?
So are you saying the people coming from Mr. Modi's rallies are paid to come there?
We don't know, because the youth are disgruntled. Where are the jobs for the youth? We know that the MBAs, the engineers, the PhDs are all vying for helper jobs in the government. They're looking for pune jobs, sweepers jobs. These are the application one has seen. So I don't know which are these youth who are going for these rallies
But
when
that's
there
a
is
serious allegation
unemployment.
to make. Let's just play those pictures again, because as we were saying, these are crowds that normally.
From where are these? What did they
BJP
give the
hasn't
youth?
seen, but you're making a very serious allegation that these people could have been paid to come there. Mr. Ghosh, do you want to respond to that?
We just saw that in Arunachal.
Obviously. I see when it is happening in the Rahul Gandhi's Jan Sabha, then it's all spontaneous. And when it is happening to Modi ji's Jan Sabha, it becomes paid.
But you saw the Calcutta rally of Rahul Gandhi.
That's the
You saw the
contradiction
Calcutta
the
rally of
Congress
Mr.
party
Gandhi.
is spreading all over the country. All over the country, they are spreading contradiction and confusions.
No, did you see the rally of Mr. Gandhi in Calcutta, Kolkata? It was huge.
No, so how do we know
No,
those
there was
people?
a
Because
rally
we
of
just
Mr.
found
Mr.
money
Mr.
yesterday by the
Gandhi in
EC.
Because
West
you don't have
Bengal.
money and they do.
EC just got 1.8 crore from the convoy of Mr. Kandu yesterday, and it is also in Pasigat where the rally is happening today morning. It was found there in their convoy by the EC.
And did
I
someone
mean,
confess this rally have been spent for the bringing the
I'm not
youth
saying,
of,
but
I'm
I'm just saying what was the money used for? Let's do the investigation. What
You
was
are
the
just
money used for? Where
oversimplifying
was it coming
everything.
from? Why was the money there yesterday? And 1.8 crore is not a small amount. Where did this money come from?
Well, it sounds very tiny when you look at the EC's seizures, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes as well. But Aarti Jared, there's another dimension to this. The Mamata-Modi battle becomes important because she's also a contender. She's also a contender for the post. And she is one of the fiercest, feistiest critics of Mr. Modi and continues to be so.
Absolutely. If you remember when demonetization happened, she was the first off the block to criticize it. The Congress and all were much more muted in their criticism, and it's only later that they followed suit. So she is definitely, you know, over the last 3 years has become the PM's fiercest opponent and the fiercest critic. And I think that's also partly, apart from maybe ideological differences, it's also that she's fearing because she's seeing the rise of the BJP in Bengal. And I mean, quite clearly, the BJP is turning into her main opponent. But you know, I want to say one thing about this whole way in which elections are fought in Bengal. You know, there is a method to it. I mean, we saw, you know, how the left front had perfected that method, and that's how they ruled Bengal for 34 years. When Mamata started emerging and took on the left, she actually took over that whole machinery, you know, muscle power, money power, gundas, this, that. She took over that whole machinery, and that's how she ousted the left. She used the left's weapons against the left.
Yeah.
The point is, the BJP has not yet been able to crack that machinery and get that machinery over to its side to use that machinery against Mamata. And I think that is where the problem
BJP
rises.
is able to do, and I like to ask Sukhendu Shekhar Roy about that, is that you can see right now the West Bengal election is in 7 phases, which is quite incredible. You know, it is a very polarized state as well. And the BJP has raised polarizing issues repeatedly when it comes to Bengal over the last few years. Some say that Mamata Banerjee is also to blame for that because of the kind of politics she does, that she kind of panders to or tries to appease, you know, only certain elements or the more extremist elements even among the minorities, and that really plays into the BJP's hands. Or this whole, you know, politics, whether it's over Durga Puja, etc. What would you say to that, Mr. Roy?
Not at all. Not at all. Bengali people always live in peace and harmony, unlike Uttar Pradesh and other cow belt areas. Suppose the BJP spokesperson was talking about Bengal. What about Uttar Pradesh? There were fake encounters, 1200 fake encounters, and 57 people were killed out of those fake encounters, as per the records of the National Human Rights Commission. And love jihad, mob lynching, Romeo squad, it never happens in Bengal. After Trinamool came to power under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, the massacre like Nandigram, Netai never happened during the past 7 years. And those wild allegations made by the BJP, they petitioned before the High Court and Supreme Court, and they got slaps in both the courts. Their petitions were rejected, even though the same old slogan is being raised by them. Mamata Banerjee does not work from the state government headquarters only. She works from among the masses, and she is in the process of reconstructing Bengal, because Bengal was ruined during the misrule of left front for about 34 years. She is introducing one after another.
But hasn't she
development
also
of programs.
contributed to the rise? Mr. Roy, hasn't she also
Program.
contributed to the rise of
Out
the
of that,
BJP?
out of that, 8 crore of people,
34% of the panchayat votes has not been allowed to file their nomination.
Per kg only.
It was without
We
contest.
have introduced
100 people of BJP
Mr. Ghosh, I'll
have
just
been
come to you.
died.
Give me a second.
Medicines
No,
in
Mr.
all
Roy, that's
government
fine.
hospitals
But
and also in private
I am
hospitals.
only asking you, Mr. Roy,
So,
hasn't
if you don't
Mamata
allow me to
Banerjee's
speak,
politics also
only if you-
helped the
only if you
BJP's
allow
rise
them
in
to-
Bengal?
Only if you allow them to make wild allegations against my party.
No, I'm asking you that do you
BJP
not
is
think
not rising
that
at all.
that
They are
Mamata's politics
competing
has
with
also
other
led to the
opposition
BJP's
parties
rise?
to become the first
She's
among
feeding
the
into their
failure.
what they want. She's feeding into them.
No. Whatever they are getting, the percentage of they are getting, that is coming out of the percentage of other political parties in the opposition. It is not that the vote share of the Trinamool Congress has been decreased, not at all. Our popular support remains intact so far the Trinamool Congress is concerned, and it has been reflected in all the elections since 2011.
That's true. You're right. In fact, the Trinamool's vote share has actually only gone up with successive elections, as has the number of seats that the party has. It may not be that easy for you to repeat exactly what you were able to do in the last Lok Sabha elections, but yes, Mamata Banerjee clearly is in charge as far as Bengal is concerned. Mr. Ghosh, you wanted to rebut what Mr. Roy was saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, Nidhi, I just want to open up a new angle. I will take up the cue point from Mr.
No, I am not a soothsayer. I am not a soothsayer.
That TMC is not losing its vote share, absolutely. And it shows that the BJP has already having bigger, getting the major chunk what Congress and CPM are losing the votes. Now, why we are not been able to take the vote share of the TMC? Because of the state-sponsored terrorism. Now, because of these 34% of the panchayat seats has went unnoticed and uncontested. 100 people, 100 BJP Karyakartas was dead, and there are 10,000 BJP Karyakartas was put behind the bar. That is why today Mamata Banerjee is getting scared because 150 companies of CRPF is now route marching in Bengal. That is why he is getting attacked. She is getting attack on Modi. Now we will also enter the vote share of TMC this time. I can bet, I can challenge. So that shows the overall in Bengal, the BJP is getting confidence of the voters which belongs to Congress and CPM, and today Congress is a party with signboard that we don't have any branches, and now CPM is eroding. Now if there is a free and fair election 2019, we will also enter the premises of the vote share of TMC. I can bet on this channel, and you can see after on 24th what Amit Shah is told, that we will get 22 plus in Bengal without any hitch.
Okay, I'm planning to see it on the 23rd. Don't see it on the 24th. You may miss it. But Aarti, quick last word.
Only one line caveat. Only one line.
One line. Yeah.
Only one line caveat.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, the central forces will not vote for the BJP. They should have some faith on the people of Bengal. They should have some respect and faith.
Okay, Shama, and then Aarti gets the last
I wanted
word.
to say one point.
But obviously, central force will help to have a free and fair poll, and what CPM was calling as scientific rigging, they will stop the scientific rigging of TMC government.
Okay,
and
Mr.
people
Ghosh,
will see
let's
that
just
with
quickly get the last
transparency
couple of comments
and
here.
with fairness, the BJP will take the vote share of TMC very soon.
Okay,
No,
Shama,
what I
Shama.
wanted to say is about this thing about creating this hype that BJP is very strong in that, but making cases like we saw in Kerala also. They kept saying that BJP is coming in with the Hadiya case where the NIA was sent and there are forced conversions happening. Nothing like that. And later on they had to find, if the NIA had to file a case.
You really think in Bengal it's just hype?
I mean, in Kerala, it was a lot of hype. So when I ask Bengalis, friends of mine, I'm asking them, you know what, is the BJP so strong there? They say, of course not. It is just all this hype created by the media and by the Bharatiya Janata Party. So the same thing they wanted to do in Kerala with the Hadiya thing and forced conversions and all those things. But it didn't happen because finally when the NIA had to file a charge sheet against her husband, who they said was involved with ISIS, they didn't do it because there was no case against him. So these are the things, you know, what one sees with the Bharatiya Janata Party. And clearly I wanted to put one important point is Rahul, he just said that we are getting eroded in West Bengal. You saw the rally of Mr. Gandhi just a week back in Kolkata. You saw the number of people there. It was a huge
number
rally.
Of people means anything, frankly, whether it's Mr. Modi's rally or Rahul
that was
Gandhi's
a
rally, it will
huge,
ultimately depend on the numbers in the election.
So we are not eroding anywhere in the country. We're just getting stronger.